Rickey Williams is one of the most exciting young cowboys making a name for himself in the sport of bareback bronco riding.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir, Rickey!
He has been in and won competitions from Texas to Wyoming and all places in between.
How about 72 points to the lead, Rickey Williams?
He rides with passion, excitement, and is a crowd favorite wherever he goes. If you didn't know any better, you would think the recent college graduate had been riding horses his entire life.
Uncle Rickey, Williams.
However, he didn't know what bareback riding was until after he graduated high school.
I got started around bucking horses because I showed up to a rodeo one weekend randomly pretty much. And I walked in and I honestly saw black guys riding bucking horses. Actually, it was called a Bill Pickett rodeo. And that's majority of black athletes. And so I didn't know nothing about it.
Williams says coming from the small town of Columbus, Mississippi, he had never seen a black cowboy, let alone ones riding bucking horses.
Coming from my past, I've had already been on horses. I know just a little bit about horses. Now I'm at a rodeo and I see black guys riding bucking horses. And I didn't know that us African Americans competed in rodeo, so that automatically caught my attention and I was like in awe. So I introduced myself to them guys and asked if they can show me something, and they did. They took me to a rodeo that next weekend in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Instead of just going to watch, Williams climbed on top of one of the horses and gave it a go.
And I got bucked off, but I enjoyed every bit of it from the time leading up to it until the time I got bucked off, and I decided to stick with it.
So you go to the rodeo, you ride the horse, you get bucked off. What makes you want to go back?
Because I lost. And so basically you're supposed to ride for 8 seconds. And I only rode for like 1.2 seconds. And so I knew I lost, and I told myself I'm gonna try again until I win.
Settle, Rick! Settle! Settle, Rickey! Settle, Rickey! Settle, Rickey!
Since that first ride, Williams has won several competitions. Nowadays, he stays on for 8 seconds more often than he gets knocked off. But for him, staying on is not good enough. He wants to go down as the greatest to ever do it.
It's an inside thing that I haven't won yet, which is like, when I say it's an inside thing about me not winning yet, I haven't got to where I want to be yet. But I know it takes time and take patience to get there. That's why I try not to go a day without putting in the work, whether it's physical or mental.
Williams says after participating in smaller rodeos and continuously getting bucked off, he knew he had to get some real training.
Starting off, I got on a handful of ranch broncs. That's what I did at first, but at the time I just went and just got on, didn't know much about it. All I knew was the horse gonna buck and it was my job to stay on. So that got kind of boring, and I started knowing more people in the rodeo industry, and I started showing up to different places, and I saw bareback riding. And once I saw bareback riding, I still didn't know much about bucking horses, and so I went home and I started watching it on TV. So that's when I learned that you have only 2 events in the bucking horse riding that can take you to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, which is the bareback riding and the saddle bronc riding.
After landing on bareback, Williams took it a step further and moved to Texas for even more training.
I found people on social media and asked, can they help me? And the people that I know was out in Texas. They invited me to come to Texas for a week and they could teach me the basics of bareback riding. And I went there on 2 different occasions, and I think after a month after that, I asked if I could move to Texas to continue to follow in that dream of bareback riding, and they allowed me to. I had to work on their ranch so I can get practice and everything.
In the South, most young boys grow up wanting to play football, basketball, or baseball. Williams was never interested in those. He said when he found bareback riding, it was the mental and physical aspects of the sport that drew him in.
you have to be 100% in the game. Like it's a mental thing. Like yeah, you put in the work physically during the week, Monday through Thursday, but on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's time to turn off the physical aspect and turn on the mental aspect, and know your job, trust your job, and believe in yourself. So that's what drives me. Like, I love showing up knowing I'm mentally prepared because I did everything else this following week, but you still have that jitter in you.
Williams is one of the few black people who participate in rodeo. He is just getting started and is already excelling in the sport. He says he tries to use his race to get others like him involved and to engage in meaningful conversations.
I love bringing my family around rodeo. Everybody gets treated like family. Like, I haven't come across much racism or anything, and the people I do talk to, they ask questions about the different culture, because maybe some of them haven't been around very many black people, just like I walking into a predominantly white sport. They haven't seen many black athletes come into the sport. So yeah, a lot of people ask questions and are curious about different things. And of course I answer them because I answer their question, and sometimes they're good questions, and it gives me the opportunity to send back a question, because I was like, well, if you didn't know this about this, I didn't know much about that either, so hey, let's teach each other something new real quick.
Oh, how about it, Ricky? How about it, Ricky?
During a rodeo in Wyoming, Williams had a ride of a lifetime.
Mr. Maury Tate, he told me before I got on, he was like, all right, we're gonna give you a little test today. And so that's what makes us riders better. When the stock contractors tell you, we're gonna test you today. So kind of give it just a little bit of extra ump.
The bucking horse fell twice, landing on top of him each time, but he never fell off.
She turns left and just started spinning and spinning, and she made one turn, and I just knew she was about to fall. So at that time, I totally shut my brain down, or my brain shut itself down to let my body start reacting, because I knew the moves that was about to happen. I knew she was about to fall. And so she fell. And at that time, it was like we're both on the ground, and it felt like we're there for almost 5 minutes. And that's when I gave myself time, my body gave itself time to kick a leg over, because I know I gotta have both feet on opposite sides to be able to hang on. So I just threw my leg back over, and she got up, and she kind of jumped again and fell again. And at this time, I'm like, oh my God, get up, because it's kind of hurting now. So I'm like, all right, come on. But I'm still dialed in, and then she got up, and I think the pickup man came and squished me in the middle trying to stop the horse from going. They trying to get the horse to keep going straight. And so then that's when she made another huge jump right as I was about to get off on the pickup, man. And she kind of threw me over, hit my head on her head and threw me over the side. I had fun. It didn't look very fun, but it was like, wow. I just hung on to this wild beast.
The clip has been watched 2 million times, but Cowboy Rick, he's never seen it.
My friends and stuff sent me the video where it started going viral. And I immediately untagged myself from the post, pretty much blocked myself from it. So I still couldn't see nothing about that post to this day, because that helps me internally, not to get the big head or not to overthink things.
He says focus keeps him safe. So does embracing fear.
I be scared. I get scared almost every time, but I let fear be my best friend. Because I was always told, and I've learned, that you can either let fear be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Having the support from his mother and 2 sisters has been the driving force behind his success.
I was raised up in the house with all women, and that taught me to do the right thing so a woman can see how a man should treat them. And so that's how I look at it for my nieces today. Whenever I'm around them, as a man, I try to give them whatever they want. Their mom is pretty strict on them about all the eating and snacking and everything, but being a gentleman, I want them to see that if I ask, whenever they get old enough to have guy friends and get old enough to get married, it's the simple things like holding the door for them, open the door for them, And basically, just whatever they ask, I give it to them. And like when I was just home this previous time, I told my sisters and my mama, I was like, hey, every time these kids open their hands, y'all need to be dropping something in them. But I know that's not gonna happen because they also have to teach them that in life, you can't get whatever you want. You have to work for it also. So I think we have a good balance in our family. And we learn those core values right here.
For Williams, the rodeo is like family. He says it reminds him of his younger days growing up and the freedom of just being a kid.
All my younger memories were made right here on this street. When we get out of school, half of the block, meet right here in the backyard, get on our bikes, and take off across town. We never knew which direction we was gonna go any day. We just got on our bikes and took off and went and had fun.
Participating in the rodeo has changed Williams' life. Being around animals, the outdoors, and among his new rodeo family gives him something to look forward to every day.
If I wasn't rodeoing or around horses, doing something that involves the Western way of life, I really don't know what I would do with my time. I'd pretty much be lost trying to figure out what to do day in and day out. But that just helps me just stay true to myself. And the biggest thing, I'll tell anybody else this too, but the biggest thing that rodeo has taught me was to have faith in God, because rodeo is a humbling sport. Anything can happen, anything can go wrong, and not just rodeo, but dealing with animals, period. It's pretty humbling because an animal will teach you everything you need to know about yourself and they don't say a word.
One day, he hopes to reach the highest level of professional rodeo.
The next step that I want to take is going to that professional level, which is called the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, PRCA. The highest you can go in the PRCA is the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, and that's just like the Super Bowl of football. That's the highest stage, and I want to be there. That's why I want to keep working hard so I can get there and keep building my self-confidence where I can know I deserve to be there.